Hello, and thank you for joining me. This video is going to be kind of a part one to my shadow work series. It'll probably just be two videos for the most part. Just going to talk to you a little bit about what shadow work means to me, and just so you start to get an idea and see if you're ready for it, because we're not always ready for something like this. If you're stumbling across this video, maybe you are. I feel like sometimes that works out that way, but maybe you're not, and this will be something that you can, have a little knowledge about for down the road should, you kind of come to terms with the fact that you might be doing some shadow work. So if you've never seen one of my videos before, I'm a master teacher, Reiki practitioner, energy worker, crystal healer, like whatever. I work out of the New York City, New Jersey area. And if you'd like to connect on social media, we could do that on Snapchat, Instagram, or Facebook. I also have a website, which is luninate.com. There you can see the services that I offer. Reach out to me should you want to, send a message or ask a question or something like that. Or make a donation, because I don't have Patreon. I do my donations through there. I really am uncomfortable talking about that stuff, but I have to, so got it out of the way. Alright, so shadow work. Shadow work sounds very scary, right? It sounds kind of evil and spooky in a sense, but I mean, hey, we all have a little bit of evil and spooky going on within us. Okay, if you could picture that the shadow is a character like Maleficent, maybe the Hulk, maybe Dracula, maybe, any number one of things, American Psycho, like any number of dark things, right? Or things that we might find spooky or scary. If you were going to fight, if you were going to battle with that opponent being this dark side, that sounds really scary. Yeah, that sounds like it's really spooky. Now, if that person or that entity or that, if that's on your side though, if that's on your team and you're able to work together to get some type of job done, to overcome in some way, then the shadow is a very powerful, balancing, and just, I have to go again, powerful, a very powerful source for us to have on our side. The shadow side of us is not only our negativity, our the stuff that we've buried, the actions that we've taken that are not exactly ones we're proud of, the emotions we've felt, and the impulses that we had that we're not exactly proud of, and we might hide or bury. And again, I'm not saying you need to go write a freaking blog about any of this stuff or anything like that. This is for you to address. Like, you're hiding it from yourself. And it can be pain. It can be dark, sad pain, sad, really gut-wrenching stuff that we've experienced that really traumatized us, and it's been buried. So this is all part of our shadow. Sometimes the pain leads to the emotional impulses and reactions, leads to these things that we might have done in our life that we're not proud of, that we don't even want to really even admit to ourselves. Really having a level of no arrogance and looking at what we've truly done, who we truly are in our core. And of course, we're not just shadow in our core. We're very wonderful people, we know this, but there are these sides that we don't like to talk about or acknowledge that they even exist. Like, what are you talking about? No, I'm fine. Like, I would never say anything like that. Like, we've all been there. To tell you the truth, I feel like I've been working in a shadowy aspect of myself for probably the past year, if I really take a look at it. Does that mean I've been just cultivating all these negative qualities of myself? No. Does it mean I've been allowing myself to experience them a little bit? Yeah, it has. During shadow work, you kind of guide your shadow. You first need to face it, and this is the most painful part. This is what might leave you in bed all day. Facing that shadow that first time, really taking a look and seeing all these qualities that you encompass, all these things you've experienced, all these negative things that have hurt you, that have embarrassed you, that have shaped you to who you are. So we need to be grateful. But there are these things that there's almost a level of embarrassment sometimes. There's a level of rage, all kinds of things that, again, we're typically as humans not comfortable encompassing or talking about or accepting within ourselves. So accepting, first looking at them, first finding them, and truly identifying with them, that's hard, that's painful, and that's for you to do. That's a video that my next video is going to be a distance Reiki to kind of help us through that time, because that's probably the most challenging, painful time to face during shadow work, is just like facing and allowing those things to bubble up to the surface to be dealt with. Now, another aspect of shadow work is, once we identify these things or identify these qualities within us, learning to guide them in a productive source, letting them have some time in the sun, but know when it's time for them to, retire, to find healthy ways for these to be expressed without hurting anyone or ourselves, or adding to this shame or uncomfortable nature of what we feel about this shadow side, to bring them out in healthy ways. And there's a lot of different ways we can do that. Again, these are the kind of things I'm going to talk about in my next video. This is just going to be like a basic shadow information video. Once we can bring these into the light. Okay, so let's talk quickly about darkness and light. So it's been hard for me at times to identify with, let's say I'm reading a great book and I'm into it and I'm like, oh, this book is going to be so good for me. I can already see how I'm going to implement this into my life, or changes I'm going to make. And then they'll kind of throw in this like good versus evil kind of thing. And I've learned to read between the lines, and I definitely encourage you to do that as well, because I feel like when we take that literally, that means there can be no evil within me. There can be nothing that's ever been bad. Well, again, who's to say good and bad? For the most cases, they're kind of, on a sliding scale for the most part. But let's say a book that I've read, The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. This book has a lot of cast out the darkness, stay in the light, cast out the darkness. And I had to read between the lines there, and it means a lot of different things. That book in particular is one that I would say, or has been said to be written in dimensions, where each time you read it, you're going to absorb it or reflect on it in a different way. Cast out the darkness, stay in light. At first, that if you were reading that on a very basic level, you might be like, oh, I can't do anything bad, I can't do anything wrong, and you're judging, like, what is bad, what is wrong, how can I stay in the light, da, da, da. Well, now I come to accept darkness and light as darkness being creation, the void, intuition, feminine, where things are born from, and light being maybe masculine, action, knowledge, spark, things more along those lines. You could look at it a different way. Cast out the darkness, cast out the negativity, cast out the negative thoughts in your head that are impairing you. Stay in the light, stay in the focus, dismiss those negative thoughts and bring them back and transmute them into positivity and things that are beneficial for your uplifting, for your expansion, and things like that. So those are just some things to consider when we're doing shadow work. We're not trying to deny these aspects of ourselves. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We're accepting them, we're welcoming them. We're welcoming them with love and acceptance and understanding that it's okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to have done these things, to have made these mistakes, we might say, in our lives. We might identify them as mistakes or things we wish we could take back, or things that caused us embarrassment and pain and things along that nature. So embracing it, hugging it, loving it, being okay with that is such an empowering process. And when you really start to bring those two together, that's true balance. That's true yin and yang. That's true balance within us. So I definitely encourage, if you feel like you're ready for shadow work, to please consider working on it, because it's hugely powerful, and you feel just so much more complete and okay with yourself and okay with your nature. Now, that's not to say that we're bringing up these shadow things so that they can kind of haphazardly run amok upon our lives. We want to guide them. We want to teach this shadow side of us to use these things in better ways. I'm trying to think of some light-hearted ones that are not too deep. Okay, like let's say rage. Let's say something we did out of rage, out of quick impulse, out of just nastiness, maybe spitting venom, I like to call it, where we say something really mean and hurtful, or being weak in a sense and letting someone else's words affect us, because surely they do, don't get me wrong, but when we get to a point where we're elevated beyond that and we can look within ourselves and be like, is this true? Nah, that's not true, they're crazy. Like one of those things. That's them, that's not me, that's them, one of those things. So let's go back to the rage. That rage can be used. That rage is Mars fire energy. That rage has power and force behind it. Is it great to use it to hurt someone or to stand up for yourself in this very combative way that's probably not going to get you anywhere? Unless, of course, like we're talking about someone like literally like trying to beat you up. Like, sure, like maybe you need to rage back at them or something. But I'm just saying, like, in a context of maybe shared emotions or shared correspondence where you turn into rage and you let this like very ragey side of yourself out and you regret it later because you're like, oof, I lost control, blah, blah, blah. When we can work with that and guide it and use that in a productive way, maybe using that energy, I'm going to say something, whatever, at the gym, using that energy in our physical selves to heal our physical selves, to expand and release these like negative thoughts and emotions, and then in turn become balanced by that because it's been released. Now we have a clear thought and we can choose how we want to approach the situation again. That's kind of like a light way to look at it, but just stuff along those lines. There are ways to direct, to guide our shadow side and let them out in these like productive ways, but not bottle them up, but not unaddress them, but not not give them credit for what they are, because they're very important. These are real, these are primal. The trick is to work with it, embrace it, love it, and then guide it into a healthy way for ourselves. That's, I think, what I would like to just leave you with to think on for today for your shadow. I'd like you to consider, are you ready for this? Like, are you ready to deal with your shadow side? There could be a level of depression that goes in with it. I'm not saying you should be depressed for like months over or anything like that, but it's hard. It's not the easiest thing in the world, and we're not always ready for it. I do feel though, once it's been done, once things have come to light and we're okay with it and we cultivate these very beneficial aspects of it and look at it for the power source that it is, a lot of good can come from there, and a lot of peace within, and a lot of acceptance on personal levels. So there you go. If you'd like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and please make sure, if you are into it, to look for the second video, which shouldn't be more than a week for me to put it out. And yeah, just thank you for the love and support. I'm always grateful and humbled. Namaste.